Hey guys, this video is just the continuation of the stories from Bulgaria, so I hope y'all didn't put your stumps away just yet. You can like and subscribe if you like the video, and let's jump into it. So by this point, me and my friends were between 16 and 17 years old. We were all pretty much the same age, and we were all into the whole explore the forest phase around this time. So we're walking up this hill, and there's stairs nearby, but we're not using them because we want to feel like explorers. So we walk a little bit off the track, and we're kind of going up further up this hill. And midway up the hill, we notice something kind of stone-like off in the distance. So we walk over and go to check it out. One friend says it is a tombstone, and I think, yeah, right, man. So me and my other friend go over, and it actually is a tombstone. One friend who's not from the town says that this is normal because sometimes graveyards are in the forest, and in fact there was a graveyard in this forest. And I knew about the graveyard, but I said, yeah, but the graveyard's like 5 kilometers away from here. No one's going to drag a tombstone to this place because the graveyard is near. Plus you'd have to go through the whole forest to drag it here. And we look at the tombstone further, and it looks old-timey. Even the writing is kind of old looking. It reads something like, "Here lies forever the body of some name that I don't remember, but it was a woman." And for some reason, the part that stuck out to us was that the person didn't have a middle name, which to us was a little, just a little weird. But we didn't really think too much about that. But the tombstone was kind of stuck in the ground a ways, so we couldn't just pick it up and move it. So we decided to mark it with some sticks and ropes so we can come back to it later. We marked the whole scene just like it's CSI Miami. So we go on exploring some more in that part of the woods, and we find a weird kind of creepy bunch of flowers in the middle of a field. And the creepy part is, to us anyways, was that the field was all shadowy and stuff, but the flowers still grew as if there were, sun all the time. And the flowers even kind of look a little different too. It was just really bizarre and weird. So we're walking around the forest with these really big and huge trees, and after a while we decided to call some more people to tell them about the stuff we found. The whole group of us used to explore and kind of call each other whenever we found creepy stuff or in or around the town, so that we could all go check it out together. Many a time the creepy stuff had disappeared before we could actually get to it. So we tell our friends where to meet us, and they show up at one of the lowest points of the woods, and we have to take them up to the tombstone spot. And when we finally get up to where the tombstone is, it's shifted about 3 to 4 meters from where it used to be. Now, I remember how it was halfway stuck in the ground and the three of us couldn't move it at all, but somehow now it's shifted on its own. We started digging around looking for a grave, and remember that stuff is really old, so the grave could have been moved a long time ago. But we go back to town to my friend's house, and his grandmother's there, and she's lived in the town pretty much all her life. We straight up ask her about the graves in the woods behind the building. She says she's heard stories of people getting buried there a long time ago because they didn't deserve to be put in a regular graveyard. And I think, didn't deserve? She says she can't explain it any better than that, and she doesn't really know how. We tell her the tombstone and how it shifted. She says all the tombstones have been moved there so the kids don't get spooked. And we're like, yeah, no, it was there twice. And she says that it's probably a tombstone that was covered in dirt and they just didn't move it when they were moving all the other ones. But we went back sometime later and the stone was gone. There was nothing there at all. I mean, they could have moved it, but not even the plants we had placed down were there. And you might be thinking that we just got the wrong spot, but we marked the trail, so I don't know what happened. What do you think about it? Do you think somebody moved the tombstone? Do you think that maybe the spirit had somehow moved it themselves? Why do you think that they weren't allowed in the graveyard? I know in the past it was usually because of marrying out of wedlock or suicide or some other thing like that. One thing I found interesting about the story was the part with the flowers growing in the shade, because it reminded me of like some old stories about fairy circles and the type of things like that. But what do you think? Was the story real or fake? Have you had a similar experience? Let me know down in the comments. So this one isn't really so much about one that happened to me and my friends, but it's just a story from the area that we live in, and it's a bit of a tragic one, so be prepared for that. There was a woman from my town, and apparently she was really sweet from what I've heard. People loved her, she loved people, and her life was pretty okay, and a lot of people even said that they would want to live like her, like to have her life. Only problem is that she wanted kids, and she couldn't have kids. And the doctors kept telling her that there's actually nothing wrong with her or her husband. They just for some reason could not have any kids. So as I said, there are people that live around our town who a lot of people refer to as gypsies. And this woman apparently went there seeking help. Now, no one knows what they did to her or what they gave her, but she got pregnant within a month after going to them. So from there, we fast forward 9 months, and the baby is good, alive, and healthy. They release the woman a few days after she has the baby, and everyone's happy. She takes the baby home. As night came, I guess she put the baby in the crib and went to sleep. But then in the middle of the night, she woke up to find the baby had been taken, gone, and she had no idea where it was. Anyway, as time went by, the baby wasn't found, and the woman decided to call it quits, and she was grieving. There's this artificial lake thing where they recycle water or something like that. I don't really know. It's pretty creepy there at night, and it's got those pump things at the bottom. Many people have went swimming in that lake. By many, I mean like 3 people, but that's a lot for a small town like mine. And unfortunately, all 3 of those people died there. They were sucked down by the pumps. So the woman decided that she had had enough misery in her life after her happiness had been taken away from her so soon. So she went to the lake late at night, and when they turned on the pumps, she jumped in the middle of the lake, and she just waited for the pumps to turn on so that they could suck her down to the bottom. People started saying you can still hear her at night scream for her child, that she will come for your child if you leave it in the crib at night, or the first night after you come home from the hospital. All that's BS, of course, but the story itself is very creepy. The creepiest being, of course, that her child disappeared in the middle of the night without a trace. So for that story, I'm not going to ask whether you think it's real or fake or not. I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Unfortunately, things like that do happen, especially when the baby goes missing so soon after. And not only that, but postpartum depression can do many things to a woman that I just can't really understand, or no one can but them. So in that case, I included this story to talk about, if you're feeling alone or feeling like you want to end your life, there's always someone who cares for you, and you should definitely call and get help, or get on like a medication, or go to a counselor or something, because life is definitely worth living. You never know what tomorrow brings. So these last 2 are quite short, so I'm going to kind of put them together. The first one is about a family, and the second is about a corn thief. So let's get into those here. So fortunately, all my friends live really near me, even in the same part of the woods. And we know one guy who lives a block away from us, and he's pretty dumb. He's been held back in school for like 3 years in a row. There's nothing wrong with him that we don't hang out with him. He just doesn't seem to really care about school all that much. The father is white, and the mother is what we refer to as a gypsy. They have like 5 kids in total or something like that. The family itself is quite poor, so they push their youngest children around in shopping carts instead of strollers. The father always seems to have a lot of temp jobs, like carrying stuff, chopping wood, just general odd jobs that you'd think of. He's a very genuine, down-to-earth guy, but unfortunately he has a drinking problem. The mother is unemployed. The oldest kid is the dumb kid who got held back. The second oldest is a girl who I'm pretty sure the family used her as a slave at some point. The middle kid is a boy, I think, only one who can still be seen around. The two youngest are twins. There's a boy and a girl, and they apparently had someone killed them. They were murdered. So for some reason, everybody makes fun of the family. They point fingers at them. Bullies are always harassing their children and everything like that. So 4 to 5 years ago, the kid who was held back was found dead in his family house attic. He had hung himself from the ceiling. The father was found dead in the woods out of town. He killed himself. The mother was never seen again. 2 twins were found dead and no one knows why. This is where the murder comes from. The second oldest is the girl. She was found dead at home, and she also apparently killed herself. I honestly don't know how they died, or if they just left and then the whole thing is a tall tale. But people could only really recognize the boy, and no one really knew what happened to anyone else. The scariest part about it is that when the bodies were found, they were all deformed. No one knows what happened to them, and no one knows why the boy was left alone. So since I live in a very rural area, people like to grow their own vegetables and stuff like that, and they often grow corn. Sometimes we steal corn from them and cook it on the bonfire, like the leftovers and stuff. Here's my corn thief gone wrong story. So I was old enough to know better, obviously, especially know better than to steal corn. But I was out in the woods with my friends, and we start a fire, and we think, oh, we really could demolish some corn right now. So that's no trouble. Me and 3 other friends go to get corn, and one of my friends asks, don't you need some money for corn? And they say, no, we're going to steal it from someone. So they go to a field all the way across town to steal corn in the far reaches of the field. They have their flashlights in hand, and it's almost midnight. There's cars passing by, so we lay low in the grass and we wait for cars to kind of go away. We look around the field and we don't see any dogs or people or anything that would stop us. So 2 friends keep watch while me and my friend go in. And I start stuffing out my hoodie pockets with whole corns. Stuffing like the end of the world was yesterday. I look pretty pregnant with corn babies at this point. I turn around to leave and I see my friend frozen in place. Shut up, Anon. So I shut up. We look around and I don't see anything. I hear a noise from in the cornfield. By this point I'm really hoping that it's not a dog or a person with a gun. So I get low to the ground to look for paws or feet, and I don't see anything, but there's a growling coming from behind me. I turn around quickly, and at the corner of my eye I see the caricature of a large figure, but then nothing. I look at my friend and then run with the force of 1,000 suns out of there. We make it outside and we're all scared as all hell, and we all start laughing. We tell them what happened and that they should run. I throw away most of the corn because I'm not a corn exporter. The thing didn't catch us, but my friend and I still heard it growl, and we never did see a dog. I still had enough corn for everybody by the end of it all, though. But stealing corn is bad, and you shouldn't do it. So what did you think of those 2 stories at the end? Real or fake? You tell me what you think in the comments. Have you had your own experience? Tell me in the comments. I'm still working on setting up an email for stories and stuff, because the email that's from my PayPal, I don't check that, so I wouldn't send an email to that. I just get a notification if someone sends me a PayPal donation. Which, yeah, I think that I will end it off there. This one's a bit of a shorter video, but hopefully you still liked it, even though they're not really super scary as some of the other stories that I do. But yeah, I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope it found you well, and maybe you'll consider becoming a patron. Maybe you'll consider subscribing and just liking the video. That's enough for me. But yeah, thanks for pulling up a stump, and thanks for watching.